Hello everyone, welcome back to another thinker in the series that is Target Parsons. A little introduction about myself. I am Mrs. Kalpana Singh, Senior Research Fellow in Department of Sociology in DVSPG College, Kanpur, working under the supervision of Professor Dr. Rajiv Kumar Sir. Now let's move to what Talcott Parsons has contributed in the field of sociology. This is the basic picture of Talcott Parsons. Okay, I always include pictures just to ensure that many of you already know who is Talcott Parsons. Just for the reminder to ensure that we already know the image who is Talcott Parsons by the time we revise number of times this particular topic. These are few of his notable works: The Structure of Social Action, 1937; Essays on Social Theory, 1939; Towards the General Theory of Action, 1951; The Social System, 1951; Social Structure and Personality, 1964; Society's Evolutionary and Comparative Perspective, 1966. There are definitely several other notable contributions, but for that you have to go back to the some of the authentic books and read it and add as per your requirements. Okay. Now let's move to the key concept given by Talcott Parsons. So the first one that we are going to discuss is the action system. So we should know that the Talcott Parsons has talked a lot about the action performed by actor in a society. Okay, let's read that statement first given by Michel in 1979. Social system consists of a plurality of all actors interacting directly or indirectly with each other in a bounded situation. There may be physical or territorial boundaries, but the main point of reference sociologically is that here individuals are oriented in a wide sense to a common focus or interrelated foci. Okay. Now here, Talcott Parsons combined the two aspects. Okay, his predecessors were talking about some of the macro point of view, some of the micro point of view. So he combined both micro and macro views of his predecessors in three aspects. That is utilitarianism, positivism, and idealism. Okay. So action consists when some actor perform any kind of action, then what are the conditions that should be met to call it a social action, right? So these are the four conditions. That is, there must be a goal when an actor is performing something, then there must be a goal. Okay, you cannot do something or actor cannot perform something out of nowhere. There must be something must be there, something must be mind. So there must be a goal or there must be an end. Second thing, there must be a situation. Okay, there must be a situation. Next, there are norms and values of a society. And the last is there must be a energy and motivation. So after the fulfillment of these four conditions, we can conclude that this particular action is a social action, right? Let's say for an example, don't take when you say goal, notice that very long term goal, what you're going to be in life, what is your dream. Let's say very small goal. Let's say somebody wants to eat a good food. His goal is to fill his stomach with some good food, fill his okay, whatever his choices are. So first thing is goal. His goal is decided that he's hungry. He want to have some food. Then there must be a situation that there are things around him that cooperate him to make his food. Then there is a norm and value of the society, how you are going to consume, what kind of food at what time. Okay, for example, if it is Navratri, then people refrain from eating non-veg, and there are certain other obligations like it is function going on. There is fast rituals. Okay, so as per the norms of the society, you are going to do that particular thing. And last is the energy and motivation that you have capacity to fulfill that goal that you have decided in the starting. Okay, so this was the action system of Talcott Parsons. Now let's move to the second thing. Now this is the another thing, the social system. If an actor is performing an action, then there is an entire ecosystem under which he or she is performing an action. Now let's start with the definition given by Talcott Parsons. Action does not take place in isolation. It is not empirically discrete but occurs in constellations. So that's why I just included this picture of constellation, where you can see there are a number of stars, but you cannot, if a single star is there, that is hardly visible from us, from Earth. So there is a constellation of star, people together, okay, and you can understand by a point of reference. So this is not something happened in an isolation of kind of single star performing certain things. If you see, we have in early in our science books, we have learned so many name of the different kind of patterns visible among the stars, like bear, the great bear, the spoon kind of pattern, okay, similar kind of. So action and orientation is a motivational and value. It is action based on the orientation. Now there are two kind of orientation, that is motivational orientation and value orientation. In motivational orientation, there are three kinds. First is cognitive, okay. Second is cathartic, and third is evaluative. So what does that mean? Now let's start. So the cognitive means instrumental. You are very you have a very clear picture of the means and end. You have very calculative social action. Okay, by what means you are going to achieve what. So you have calculated the entire series in order to achieve your goal. Second is cathartic. That is expressive in the sense a social action that expresses you. And last is the evaluative. Evaluative social action is somehow constrained by the values and norms of the society, and it is called a moral social action. Okay. Now, second is the value orientation. Again, it is of the three types, that is cognitive, appreciative, and moral. So, by word itself, you clearly understood what does that mean. Cognitive, I already explained in the motivation. Now, there are four kind of system, and they are interrelated. When we come to the next, we consider the major contribution of Talcott Parsons, and that is being asked a number of time in exams too. So, these are the four systems: biological organism, being a biological, the first thing being a human, what you do, the entire system around this. Second is the personality system. Third is the cultural system, and last one is the social system. So these are the four systems, okay, under which one has to perform and the social action, and accordingly he moves ahead, and the stability of the society keeps moving on. So let me clear one thing here, that Talcott Parsons was a functionalist, and the ultimate goal was the ultimate aim of the society was to achieve equilibrium. So that this was the moving equilibrium. Okay, society should not be disintegrated. It should move on with the proper balance among these four systems given by the Talcott Parsons. Okay, now this was the social system, right? This was the action kind. This is the basic unit is the role expectation. Now, see, when we in basic concepts, we you must have studied the role and status, right? Given by Robert T. Merton. So there you study in every society there is a positioning. Okay, say if you are in a society, then what is your role? What is your status? And accordingly, what is the role expectation from that particular status from you, right? So everybody in society is given a particular status, and accordingly he has to perform the role. So when things move in equilibrium, so people keep on performing. We can assume that people keep on performing the role. So functionalists every time talk about the equilibrium, the stability of the society. Okay. So actors have to perform the dynamic portion of their, the dynamic aspect of their status. And if we see in this constellation, let us assume this is a society, and these stars are the actors in the society. So if every actor is performing their action as per the status assigned to them by the society, then things move very smoothly. Society remains in equilibrium. So this was the social system. Okay. Now let's move to the next concept to see how this four system mentioned here, the biological, personality, cultural, and social, are interconnected. Okay. Okay. Now let's move. Okay, so before we jump directly to the uh, prominent contribution of Parsons in discipline of sociology, let's study one more concept, that is pattern variables. Dilemmas confronted by an actor while performing a role are put as dichotomous characters, choosing one at a time. So this is a set of variables. Okay, this is first set of variable, and on the other side there is a second set of variables. So when an actor perform an action, he is confronted by these two variables side by side at a time. Okay, not just entire set, but two variable at side by side. The first one is affectivity, and the other one is affective neutrality. You see, there is kind of opposite of each other, right? If you are performing in this first affectivity, then you cannot do the affective neutrality at the same time. So these are kind of contrast dichotomous set together. Okay, or these are opposite of each other. In second point, that is self orientation, and in other side, this is collectivity orientation. In first side, this is universalism, whereas opposite side, that is particularism. First side, that is ascription. Second side, that is achievement. First side, specificity, and on the second side, that is diffuseness. Now say these are the extreme values on the other side, okay? Either side, A or B, A or B, A or B, right? So it is not always the case that you choose the extreme. This is just as an ideal type. If you have read the Maxwell concept of ideal type, this is similar kind of thing. That this is the extreme values, and actor when performing an action choose accordingly. You cannot say that this first set of this group of variables in first this column is from primitive society, and this group of variable in second column is for modern society. It is a general categorization, but we still know that even today there is a dilemma, and it is not necessary. Even in modern society, people do adhere to the characteristic given in the first column, that is the called to be the ancient society or primitive society, but this is the first column and the second column, right? So this is just the set of variables, okay? Just to ensure these are the dilemmas, that's it. It has nothing to do with the reality all the time, okay? Reality is always depend on the context. Okay, what is the situation? As as earlier explained by me in the first slide, what are the four conditions for a social action? So situation is already there up and very prominent significant condition. Okay, so that is affectivity, and you are neutral. You are not doing some social action with affectivity. Second is you are too much obsessed about yourself. You are too much thinking about your own interest. Whereas on the second part, you see there is collectivity. It means you are doing social action in the support of or towards the collectivities like community, your village, or say family or nation. So similarly, collectivity. Okay. Now next is universalism. You are following the universal standards or universal truths, whereas this time it is a particularism. Okay. Now this is a particular interest of particular orientation or particular calculation done by the actor. Now this is the ascription on the left hand side. Now this is the very famous example you can try to understand is the caste system. Okay, when you see status are ascribed and achieved, so decided by the birth, you cannot change it that in lifetime. And on the other hand, it is achievement. Okay, by your education, hard work over a period of time, you might have achieved a good social position, and that is the achievement basis. Now on this side again, this is specificity. Okay, and you are somehow bounded in a particular area, particular foundation limitation, where diffuseness, things are spreading all across the world. Okay, diffuseness is something spreading, diffusing. Okay, so these were the pattern variables. Now let's move on the next concept, a very important contribution of Parsons. Okay, just a minute. Okay, now this is a very important concept and a plan given by Parsons, where he says functional prerequisites means if a society is to remain stable or in a state of stability and equilibrium, then it must fulfill four conditions. Okay. And what are those four conditions? That is the AGIL model. AGIL. You see the first letter of in the box is the first letter A, G, I, and L. Okay. So this is the AGIL model. Now the first one is the adaptation. Okay. Now, adaptation means you have read over a period of time, people adapt to their environment, immediate environment, then the changing currents of the society, changing currents of the contemporary society, which is actually moving very fast, right? So, this is adaptation. Okay. Now, adaptation, how the first thing is here is the, just a minute, where is the pen? Okay. Now, you see, the functional prerequisites, the first one is the adaptation. Okay. Now you see, this is done by first thing, this adaptation, first thing is, actually I'm writing with the mouse, so handwriting is quite horrible. Okay. The first thing is biological. Okay. The first thing is biological. And this biological function is attained by the adaptation kind of thing you have already read in Karl Marx also, that this adaptation function, the changes happening in the society is the changes caused, the changes from transformation from one society to another society is caused, and the entire system taking place in the economic system. So adaptation takes place via the behavioral organism, okay, the biological organism. The behavior you change towards your immediate environment, and this entire process takes place in the economic system. Okay. Second is the goal attainment. Okay. And this goal attainment is performed by the things decided and all integrated in the personality system. Okay. How your personality achieves to which kind of goal. And this entire system works under political system. Okay. Now next one is the integration. Okay. Now integration adhere itself to the social system. Okay, the four system discussed in the previous slide. So that is the social system. So integration part works in the social system, and it connects itself to the cultural system. Okay. So integration cultural system, why it is related? Because cultural system is a culture. What is culture? It is a combination of several things. You see the E.B. Tyler's definition, it includes everything, okay, from your beliefs, norms, your practices, your material, immaterial, everything is included in the culture. So integration part works in the cultural system. And last one is the latency, also called the pattern management. And this thing works the this is a social system, and this thing works in the fiduciary. The latency works in the fiduciary system, and it is the pattern is managed by the family and education. The process of socialization helps to inculcate the requirements of the society via a very conscious as well as unconscious process, and it is in the subconscious mind of the actor, that what are the what are the pattern variables, what are the norms, cultures, belief system of the society, and accordingly it helped to manage the pattern management, help to manage the pattern of the society. So if society needs to remain in the state of stability, then the four prerequisites are adaptation, goal attainment, integration, and latency. That is A, G, I, and L. Okay. Now here it is written on the left hand side external. So adaptation and goal attainment are external, because you see the system it adheres to is economic system and political system. In political system, people organize themselves and mobilize themselves, and the leader of nation decides where the country wants to go, and they are the representative population itself. So it is ultimately the wish of the society that is being represented at top level from the leader we choose, right? So these two things are external, whereas the internal is the integration and the latency, because it's somehow related to the process of socialization. It means inculcating the societal belief pattern and the norms and the expectations via the process of socialization in the mind, in the young mind. Because in family, you see the socialization start from the very birth of the child, and when a child is get stable and able to talk and say things around him, then he is sent to school. Then this education system again start the process of socialization in continuation with what family has taught him over the period of time. And this family and education together have a very large, long lasting, or we must say that lifetime impact on a person. So, for pattern management, family and education are the key significant players. Okay, and these two things, integration and latency, are internal thing. Okay, it is inside of the human how his mind and things are trained to achieve stability of the society, to achieve equilibrium of the society. Okay, so these are the four important prerequisites, and you need to memorize it. Not just this agile word, but also the system they adhere to, and through which, in between, through which system these institutions work. Okay, like again, I'm repeating adaptation, and the system is biological organism, institution is economic system. Okay, goal attainment, the system is personality system, and the institution is political system. Integration, then it is a social system, and the institution is here written cultural system, but you can say law too, right? Law also play a significant role towards maintenance of the integration. So here you can write law, right? In latency, the system is fiduciary or again cultural system, and the institution via which we achieve this latency is family and education. Okay, so these are the four terms. Okay, let's move to the next. Okay, so I think we have finished the slide over here. Okay, there is no issue. There was one more thing to explain was the patterns, and there were four kind of patterns given by Parsons. One was the universalistic and particularistic, and combining these two, there were four patterns ascribed and achieved. And combining these four things, there comes out to be the four patterns. Okay, universalistic, ascribed, universalistic, achieved, particularistic, ascribed, and particularistic, achieved. So these were the four patterns that is being followed in across the world according to the societal norms and cultures, and the situation of a person or the workplace he is working, so which kind of pattern he is following and he is adhering to. So that was all about the patterns, right? So these were the major contribution of Parsons in the discipline of sociology that you need to memorize. So this is again I'm saying not a complete video. You must go back to the authentic text and again read and come up few of the other important things that might not have been included in this video, and you can add it on, right? So okay, thank you, bye bye. I'll come again with another thinker in the series. Okay. Okay. Goodbye.